Welcome to another episode of Out of the Pods. I'm Deepti.
And I'm Natalie.
And friends, if you're watching on the video, we have moved again.
We're in a different part
of Deepti's apartment. I love how I referred to myself in third person.
You were just finishing my sentence, which you always do because we are one and the same now.
Yes.
We are one person.
Different minds, but same minds.
Wait, I was just thinking about it. So you guys already know that Deepti and I live in the same apartment building. And we were at an event last week or a couple of weeks ago now. And she was like, oh, like, where do you guys live in the city? And I was like, oh, we live in the same apartment building. They're like, oh my gosh, so fun. Roommates?
Yeah. And I was like,
we have to always clarify, like, no, we live separately. We're not that codependent.
Exactly. Actually, at some of the events now, I don't even say we live in the same building anymore because I'm just embarrassed for myself. I'm just like, and then because Natalie will almost always follow with, she followed me. She's a stalker. I'm like, wait, bro, are you kidding?
I was just about to say, I always clarify that I lived in the building first and then Deepti came right afterward. Actually, that she followed me.
Yeah, you always say she followed me here. She's kind of creepy and a stalker. Because one thing about
she's a loser.
One thing about Natalie's humor is if you don't know her, she may come off serious.
I know. If you don't get my sarcasm, which is 99.99999% of people we meet, people think I'm actually serious.
I've given up on Natalie at this point in trying to correct her when she says shit like that. I'm just like, just go on your little bit. Sometimes we'll do it in the elevator with like tons of people. I kind of did that. I just
go on with your little bit.
No, literally, I'm like, whatever. But I tried to give you a little taste of your own medicine the other day when we were in the elevator.
Wait, what happened?
Because we went to dinner and you did not even drink. I had one martini and I was like, she's so drunk right now. Like she's acting a fool or something in the elevator. And you're just like, oh,
wait,
whatever.
I don't remember that. Was I drunk?
Wait.
Okay, speaking about bits, I do this bit where Deepti and I live like several floors away within this apartment building and we go up and down. Like sometimes we record in mine and then obviously we're recording in her apartment today. And like, we'll just, I don't know, slip on any type of shoes, like socks with sandals.
Oh.
Do you remember?
Oh my God.
And so I was in the elevator with her, helping her bring down the podcast equipment because we were recording at my place one time. And there was two other men in the elevator and they were very cute. And I go, ew, Deepti, what are those? Like I was pointing at her shoes.
She is so mean for this because they're literally just like the white slip-ons with socks. And I'm pretty sure I had mismatched socks on too.
Yeah, and I was like, oh my gosh, Deepti, your shoes. I was like, ew.
Yeah, this is why
and
I
they're
can't
all
get men.
looking at her shoes.
This is probably a very good sign that I probably shouldn't go out with you to try to find men because you.
What do you mean? I feel like I'm a really good wingwoman.
No, you actually are.
If someone like very hot comes along, I'd be like, have you met my friend Deepti? I was like, she is single and ready to mingle.
Okay, Burley, what happened in the elevator?
And I was like, I'm married. You don't want to date anyone in our building because guys, I did. And I see him all the time.
Yes.
He sees me truly at my worst and rarely my best because I look like my worst in this building.
100% me too. Whenever I get food delivery, I almost loathe this so much when they leave it downstairs instead
in
of
the lobby.
Yes, instead of bringing it up because I look a hot mess and I'm not trying to be seen in public, right? You will not catch me going.
You will never catch her looking like a mess in this building.
But I was like, you know what? Screw it. I just got out of the shower, so I had wet hair. I went downstairs and I looked a hot mess, dude. And coming up, there was the cutest couple ever. They're like, "Are you Deepti?" And I was like,
"Oh no,
oh fuck." I was just like, "Oh no, yeah, in my rarest form." And I was like, "This is not my rarest form."
I feel like you could be like, "No."
Yeah,
like if I look so different from the show, aka like no makeup, my hair looks crazy, I'm like, it's not me.
Yeah, because my hair was in the in-between stages of drying, so it's like a little frizzy.
You're like, is that oil? Or did she just get out of the shower? Like when you can't tell.
It was so bad. I was
I know exactly.
I'm so sorry that you're seeing me like this.
I get that feeling too, especially when I order food delivery on a late Saturday night and I have to go down and get it. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm that loser staying in.
Yes.
When there's a bunch of people like waiting for their friends in the lobby to go out, or they're going in and out all dressed up. And I'm like, in my robe. And I'm like, hey, just grabbing this fast food order of my burger.
That is actually so funny.
About to take it up to my cave.
If I order something embarrassing too early on like a Saturday, I did this last Saturday actually, so this is so relatable. I actually took my beach bag downstairs with me because I had it packaged anyways to pick up, and I put the food delivery inside of it so no one could see it. I'm like, why do I care so much? But I care so much.
I do too. I feel like nobody gets this unless they are a woman living in an apartment building who gets food deliveries with delivery drivers who will not bring it up to your actual apartment door. It's a very much a first world problem.
It takes a lot out of me as soon as I see that they delivered it downstairs to be like, couldn't find my order and just let it go. I'm like, bye, I don't want it anymore.
That's so bad.
I mean, I don't do it. I just,
it's like an intrusive thought. I have the ability to.
Yeah, I'm like, bye. No. But anyways.
You know what has been annoying me lately?
What?
Love Island, a show that I've not watched, is all over my Discover pages, For You pages, everywhere on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn. I'm like, what are you doing here, Love Island?
I literally have no sympathy for you because you should be annoyed. And I'm glad you're annoyed.
It's just, when you don't watch a show and it's being talked about so much in the media and you like don't understand.
Yes.
Like that's like the frustrating part. I was like, I haven't watched, so I don't get it. But why is this all over my feed?
This is your sign that you should watch the show.
I can't. There's 36 episodes?
There's something like that. But you don't need to watch the After Sun episodes. I forwarded through all of that. You probably don't even know what After Sun is.
I have no idea.
It's in between the show. There's this After Sun episode where they interview some of the contestants who have left and like they bring other people in. But anyways, I have to tell you, after Greece, actually it was that night, we talked about this on the podcast episode last week where you and I went out with our sisters.
Yes.
So the next morning, me and Divya were rotting on the couch. That rot day. I was like, what should we watch? And I was like, let's start Love Island. And I just randomly threw on an episode because I was like, who cares? Let's just watch it. Natalie, when I tell you, I was hooked within the first 20 minutes. And I wish you would watch it because it is that good. It is that good.
No, I heard it's really good. I mean, it was the most streamed reality TV show in the US.
Yes. 1 week in July, there was like 915 million plus minutes of the show watched, which is like just
crazy.
It's such a crazy statistic. But
I know the UK version is very popular, and we'll talk about UK shows in a minute because we've got some exciting news. But I'm actually really surprised Love Island USA was so popular this year because they're on season 6.
Yes.
And like I know the first 5 seasons they weren't hitting.
Yeah. No, I agree.
People were not watching them. So I'm shocked that this season blew up. But the only reason I can't get myself to watch is first, I don't have Peacock.
I'll give you my login.
But secondly, I know that there's so many episodes that it makes me feel overwhelmed that I have to start from the beginning when the show has already ended.
That's exactly why I didn't watch any of the previous seasons or the UK version. I think there's an Australian version too. And I was like, I can't get myself to watch this many episodes.
Too long, yeah.
But then I heard so much hype around this season.
Totally.
And I was like,
I mean, I do.
Yeah. The fact that I watched the entire season in 1 week.
In 1 week?
Okay, don't judge me because you know what, guys? I have a walking pad.
That is so crazy because Deepti and I had so much work to do and she'd be like,
Okay, I was watching it at nighttime and getting barely enough sleep. But the way I justified it in my head is because you know how I bought the walking pad?
Yes.
And I was like, as long as I'm walking, I can watch the show. So it was like dual.
So you walked for like 36 hours?
Well, no, I probably walked for like only 15. But I still walked.
Still a lot of walking.
Yeah, but it was a really, really good season. And I think the cast is what made it so amazing.
Oh, yeah. I hear the name Leah everywhere. People call her the People's Princess. And I thought it was really funny because I listened to a podcast episode that she was on. Mm-hmm. And so if you guys aren't familiar with Love Island, the way the show works is They are filming as people are watching.
Yeah. And that's why there's so many episodes, because they literally film and edit and send it out. I think like every other day there's a new episode.
Yeah.
Crazy.
So like the cast is literally filming the show as people are watching these episodes.
Yeah.
And so one of the cast members, Leah, who blew up after the season, she has like 1.8 or 1.9 million followers on Instagram right now.
She might be at 2 already.
Yeah,
because it's
maybe.
growing so fast. And also,
She
can I
just-
just say, I followed her and she followed me back.
I love that.
I was like, Leah, my Persian princess, I love you.
As I was saying, Leah went on a podcast and she was talking about how she's really surprised at like all the love that she's been getting. Like she did not realize as she was filming the show that, you know, like so many people had taken such a big liking to her. And can you imagine just like being on the show without your phone, like any electronic, any access to the outside world, and you do not know how people are viewing you? I think she thought the opposite, like she was not really well liked.
Yeah.
And then coming home to like almost 2 million Instagram followers.
Yeah. It's actually,
And like realizing people are calling you the people's princess.
yeah, no, it's actually kind of insane. So I know you didn't watch, but throughout the season, what they do is they have like America's favorite vote or like most compatible couple. And that kind of saves you from getting eliminated a lot. So every single time America would vote for her, she would be like shocked. She's like, what the hell? Like, I did not know I was liked. And everyone on the outside world is like living such a different reality because people are making so many TikToks being like, Leah, my queen, like you have no idea how much we love you. And like just her one-liners are just so good. She's so funny and just like such a real girl, you know?
Yeah, I've seen her one-liners on social media because obviously I haven't watched the show. And I won't be. Sorry.
Can I just tell you my toxic trait? I fear that Rob is my type. Have you seen a picture of Rob yet?
No.
He was just on Caller Daddy. I have to show you.
I know who Rob.
Okay, he's wearing the overalls.
So I don't know anything, but I know Rob because he does the animal stuff, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
he loves snakes. I have to show you because you know you're here. This is Rob.
That's your type?
That is to a T.
What
fear
about
my
him
type.
is your type? I actually have no idea what your type is.
True. I don't even
Because Kyle and Shake were so different that I'm like,
Shake
what?
really wasn't my type. I think we knew that from the beginning. Actually, honestly, I don't know. He's just so good looking. And I think there's this like mysterious thing about him. His whole MO this season was, I'm like an onion, peel back the layers, because he's so quiet and like you have to kind of get to know him. But Leah and Rob had a thing. And so most of her little one-liners are from that. But anyways.
I could never do a show that is like pretty much live where, you know, I'm still filming and people are watching me.
Yeah.
Because I also think about Kendall and what happened to him.
Yeah.
So Kendall is also a cast member from the season of Love Island, and a not safe for work video was leaked while he was filming the show.
It's okay. What's super devious about this situation is that Kendall and Nicole, along with the rest of the 3 other couples, they made it to the final 4. And on finale night, you know, when they announced the winner, this person, whoever leaked the video, is a close friend to him. I don't know who it is. I think that it's probably his ex-girlfriend who he left to go on the show for. So I think like there's some weird behavior there. But what's super devious about this situation is that they leaked it on finale night, knowing that he's going to get his phone back. And that's the first thing he would see. So it was like so like just evil, honestly, to do that to him. It's really messed up on.
Yeah, I mean, whoever did that to him, like to leak sexually explicit videos of him is not okay.
Yeah.
But he actually wrote on his Instagram stories on July 22nd, he goes, "What a way to get my phone back, y'all." That was something I shared to someone in confidence and trust. And it's unfortunately that it's no longer private, but it is what it is. But still, it's just crazy because before he got his phone back and that video was leaked, his sister was defending him. And I like put myself in his shoes when all of this was happening before he got his phone back. I can't imagine there being a sexually explicit video of me that my friends and family have to see that I'm just not aware of and the viewers are watching it. My friends and family have to defend me somehow.
Yeah.
It's so bad. Like I feel
Mhm.
so bad for him.
Yeah. And I think his family had to step up because they were like, I don't know when he's gonna see this. But yeah, it was very like revengeful, and like the fact that it was somebody close to him. I hope he sues this person because he probably knows exactly
100%.
who it is. Because that's just, yeah, that's not okay.
Yeah.
But I do have to say, Kendall has really handled himself so well, because if I were him, I would be in shambles. I don't know what I would do.
I mean,
But
you never know behind the scenes.
No, I'm sure it's affecting him,
Yeah.
but he's been doing so well in the public eye, just with the interviews and like handling the questions well. But I'm sure it's also hard for Nicole, because obviously they like
Is that who he ends up with?
yeah, so obviously I'm sure it impacts her in a way too, because the public has so many opinions. But
I think it's great that most viewers are reporting the video on
Mhm.
public platforms, and kind of like most people have his back, being like, this is sick that someone did this. Not that the video was made, but more so like, who the fuck leaked it? And that's like shitty ass behavior.
Exactly.
It's wild. I don't know. The internet, I feel like these moments show that it could be such a scary place, and there's very little respect on the internet.
Yeah.
It is kind of like the culture of the internet, sad to say.
Yeah.
But I feel like we could say it because we didn't grow up necessarily with the internet. Like the internet wasn't the internet. Like social media wasn't a thing when we were younger.
Yeah. I remember when I was posting like dumb quotes to an Instagram post back then, or like we had to use dial-up. And I bet you anything, a lot of Gen Zers out there, if they're listening, they're probably like, what the hell is a dial-up?
Yeah.
What is AOL?
No one knows the AOL sound, like the connecting sound, like more than us. Okay?
Or when your mom is yelling at you, get off the internet, I need to make a phone call. Or like your away message on AOL. Oh my God.
Or when home phones existed. I know some people still have home phones, but you know, I feel like most families in the US don't anymore.
Yeah.
Remember when you were able to like listen in?
Oh, I love
to
that.
like someone's phone call.
Dude, I got in so much trouble with that, so I won't even get into it. One time my mom was listening to me talking to a boy when I was younger on the other phone.
Were you saying some not safe for work things?
Just a little bit, and I got in lots of trouble. I think I was grounded for 9 months. I'm not even exaggerating the 9 months.
The more I get to know Deepti, I'm like, what kind of child were you?
Well, the thing is, I think I was a very mature child in a young girl's body, and that's why I got into so much trouble. And my mom was like, stay a child, you know?
I will say what's very unique about you is like you're still very like sweet and wholesome, but you definitely have a rebellious streak, which I was very surprised to see when we became really close.
Yes.
Because I think I'm just a pessimist, but I'm not rebellious at all.
Yeah. Oh,
like I like being very safe.
Oh, dude, if you know anything about Aquarius signs, I'm sorry.
I don't believe in astrology, guys. I'm just going to put it out there.
You and you alone, baby. No, I'm just kidding. There's only one, you know. No, with Aquarius, they are very rebellious nature.
Okay.
And they're very humanitarian, but they do not like to follow the rules of society. And that is me to a T. I do not like when someone tells me what to do, I will do the complete opposite just to spite you. Like, that is me. Which is why my parents had a really tough time with me.
I hope your mom's listening. She's like, oh, let me tell you.
Yeah, she's like, I have some stories.
Let's bring her on the podcast. When I watch reality TV, I think about the time that I was on reality TV and how much stress I experienced during that process. When I experience stress, I typically start noticing increased hair thinning, hair shedding, but I started using Nutrafol 2 years ago, and it has helped make my hair thicker with less shedding. What I love about Nutrafol is they have multiple formulas because everyone's root causes of hair thinning are different. They have formulas that are tailored to different stages of life, such as postpartum and menopause, as well as for different lifestyles, such as plant-based diets. And Nutrafol is the #1 dermatologist recommended hair growth supplement, with over 1 million people seeing thicker, stronger, faster growing hair with less shedding. You can purchase online, no prescription required. Take the first step to visibly thicker, healthier hair. For a limited time, Nutrafol is offering our listeners $10 off your first month subscription and free shipping when you go to Nutrafol.com and enter the promo code OOTP. Find out why over 4,500 healthcare professionals and hairstylists business, recommend Nutrafol for healthier hair. Nutrafol.com, spelled Nutrafol.com, promo code OOTP. That's Nutrafol.com, promo code OOTP. But anyways, going back to Love Island, but maybe next season I will actually watch. I think when it comes out and I start watching those episodes, I won't feel so overwhelmed to be like, oh my God, there's so many episodes. But this season, I feel like I already know what happened. It's done, over. Everyone's talking about it. I was like, I got the info I needed.
I feel like it's a little too late for you to watch now because, you know, it's like everything is said and done. But I fear that the other seasons that air after this will not be as good because of this cast. But we'll see. We'll have to go on the journey together. Maybe we'll do like an off recap.
Yeah, maybe. Here's the thing about me, though. I'm just going to be honest. Even though we talk about Love is Blind and other Netflix reality TV shows on this podcast, I don't like reality TV, actually.
I love reality TV.
I don't watch TV in general, which is crazy to say.
Yeah.
I like living in my own little bubble. I don't really like keep up with pop culture. Through Deepti, I do. And then I'll like my mind will be piqued when she brings something up. But I do feel like the popularity of this and how many people watched across age groups, I'm like, there must have been something really, really good about this show. Yeah.
And my sister's kind of like you too, where she doesn't like reality TV, but I'm on a different level. What's really funny is I even started a UK version of it, and I had to stop after like the first 20 minutes because I was like, it just doesn't compare to the season I just watched, and I couldn't get into it. But anyways, yeah, we'll have to go through the journey for next season.
Yay.
Well, guys, speaking of other seasons and other shows and UK, Love is Blind UK is gonna be out on August 7th, and I'm so excited. You know why?
Why?
Specifically because they're going to have British accents.
So the Love is Blind Netflix Instagram page actually revealed the cast. And I am loving the diversity of this cast.
Me too. Immediately who caught my eye is Priya.
Yes.
I was like, oh my God, she's gorgeous. I hope she has a storyline, and I don't know. I'm really looking forward to it. I can't believe it's already coming up so fast.
I know. I do like the cast is a little bit older because not saying there's a correlation between, like age and marriage, but I feel like maturity, of course there is.
Yeah.
And so I was like, oh, at this age, like how we always talk about on this podcast, like the older we are, the more lessons we've learned.
Yes.
And I feel like now if I meet a really good guy, like I kind of know based on all these kind of like shitty relationships I've been in.
Yeah.
So I feel like I like that the cast is older because I feel like hopefully they're more equipped to make sound decisions, like what's right for them.
Yeah. And I know you just said like age is not a correlation for like getting married, but I do think that people who are younger kind of go on the show sometimes to be like, oh, we'll just see where it goes.
Yeah.
And it's up in the air. Like if I have a great experience, then fine. And then the older ones are like, no, like I want to find love here.
I'm more serious.
Yeah. And they're a little bit more committed and willing to take the risk to be like, I'm going to put my eggs in this basket,
Yeah.
So we'll see how it goes. But I'm so excited because I just know these accents are going to turn me on. I'm going to be like, hell yeah. Positive.
Find Deepti a British man. You should have joined this season of Love is Blind UK.
Oh my God, that was what Leah did in one of the episodes. Anyways, I would love a British man. And actually, there's this guy on Too Hot to Handle, and I'm not watching, but he like popped up on my TikTok page, and he's half Indian, Punjabi, and half English. And I was like, I fear this is my type too. Like, he's so beautiful.
Deepti's always like, that man's my type. And I was like, Deepti, what is your type?
Handsome.
Deepti's type is everyone.
No, that's not true.
Deepti's type is every man.
That's not true. Pod besties, she's joking.
I'm just kidding.
No, but yeah.
Does Rob have a British accent?
No, I wish. That would make him a 20 out of 10.
Anyways, I think that we'll be moving our episodes to Mondays because the episodes for Love is Blind UK comes out on Wednesdays. So we don't want you guys to wait an entire week for recaps. But I am very, very excited. I've talked to a cast member from Love is Blind UK, so I know a little bit about how the show works behind the scenes, but it'll be interesting watching. It's always very interesting when cast members reach out before their seasons come out.
Mhm.
And they have their own perspective on what happens. They don't know their edit yet, but like they tell you their story from their point of view and what they
Yeah.
went through. And then you see the show and you're like, oh,
Yeah.
that's not what you said.
Yeah.
Or, wow, they cut out so much.
Mhm. I feel like we're living examples of that, where
Yeah.
when it's living through it is one thing and then seeing yourself back is another. And when so much time passes in between, you're like, did I actually say that?
And then you think about how you filmed her like 30,000 plus hours, but only like 2 hours of you makes it on the show.
Yeah. I wonder how many episodes there's going to be. Will be
I don't
interesting.
know, but I'm very, very excited. I think
Mhm.
the hosts are really cute too.
Yes.
So, and I do know that when our season came out, season 2, it was pretty big in the UK.
Mhm.
And so for them now to have a UK version, I think this season's going to be crazy popular.
Eek, I'm so excited to watch. So I have to tell you something.
Oh my gosh, what?
I was just being dramatic. You know how I went to Pitchfork this past weekend? It's a
Yes.
music festival here in Chicago. And guess who I saw?
Who?
Kyle. As in the ex from Love is Blind, Kyle.
Wow, what a blast from the past. We were just talking about him.
Yeah. His ears were ringing. No.
Yeah.
You know what's interesting is I'm kind of glad I ran into him
Mm.
because I feel like I was not holding on to a grudge, but I was kind of living with what happened to us. And I don't think I've ever revealed exactly what happened, but I think it was really nice to see him to kind of like let go of the past and just be like, let's just move forward from here on out. And it was like a good conversation, and it was like nice seeing him again. You're probably like, what? Internally. You're probably like, excuse me, ma'am, what are you saying to me?
And I was like, what, you don't nurse your grudges like I do? Because once I have a grudge, I don't let them go.
I know.
I nurse them like little babies. They're like little Tamagotchis. I like to feed them. I like to water them. I like to put them to bed.
What's a Tamagotchi?
What?
What's a Tamagotchi?
Where have you been?
What is a Tamagotchi? Am I the only one?
Well, they're gone now, but Tamagotchis were these little I don't know how to explain.
Are they animals? Plants?
They were like this electronic.
Mm.
Tamagotchis were this electronic that you could put on your keychain.
Oh.
And you like feed them, like you press buttons to like feed them, have them grow up. Like they start as babies when you get them, and then you like raise them.
What do you mean?
I don't know. Google it. I don't know.
I'm fucking dying because it sounds.
Okay, I'm just going to tangent here. My ability to describe things has significantly declined once the internet became a thing, because I feel like I'm always like, Google it. Why don't you just Google it? Let me just Google it and read you what it is.
I'm fucking dying because I hope we make a clip out of this and show what the fuck a Tamagotchi is.
The fact you don't know what a Tamagotchi is
that
you were never a child.
Is that like a little what are the little animals, like you water the animal to grow? I don't even know.
It's like it's in a little electronic thingy.
Oh, interesting.
Like a little what was an old iPad.
Oh, okay.
Like with little buttons.
Oh, you're freaking me out. Tamagotchis. I never had one.
Here, let me just show you, okay?
Pod besties, please be on
Here,
my
let me
side.
tell you what Google says. A Tamagotchi is a brand of held-hand digital pets that were created by Japan by Akira Yoko.
Okay, thank you for the creator. Wait.
And it became one of the biggest toy fads of the late 1990s and the early 2000s.
It's kind of like those little
Here, I'll show you.
Oh, I've never had that in my life. See, I wasn't really a gamer.
No, what do you mean? You didn't have to be a gamer. It's all keychain.
Oh yeah, I never had one of those.
Like I had like 20. They were like literally like probably $5 back in the day.
You know what? I'm taking this up with my parents because how dare they not give me a childhood?
I feel like when I was having a temper tantrum, my parents were like, let me go to Target real quick and buy a Tamagotchi.
Well, is it like, do they have the little games on there? So it's like a little snake?
No, there's just like 3 or 4 buttons, and it's
Oh.
really just to like, it starts like crying and you have to feed it.
Okay, it sounds annoying.
It's like a Furby, but like the
That's what I was
like
gonna
Furby version 1.
Okay. The OG Furby.
So anyways, where was I with grudge?
Tamagotchi. I'm dead.
My grudges are like Tamagotchis.
Okay.
I nurse them. I feed them. I love on them. They grow with me. I never let them go. I'm not a bad parent.
That is so funny. Yeah, honestly, I'm not a very big grudge holder. And like a lot of people say this to me and they're like, Deepti, like specifically my friends and family, obviously, but they're like, stop like being so nice to people and being so forgiving. But in my head, I think it's a real strength. Sometimes it does, backfire a little
No, I was like,
bit.
you're weak. I was like, hold on to that grudge. Be strong. Hate them forever.
Show your loyalty to yourself.
I mean, like grudges for me aren't like, like letting my friend borrow my car and she tows it and, like I'm never going to let her borrow my car again. That's not a grudge. For me, it's like they have done something so mean, unforgivable to me or my friends or someone that I love. And I will never forget it.
Yes. Okay.
Wait. Never forget it.
This reminds me of the iconic quote from Elsie from Laguna Beach. Did you ever watch Laguna Beach back in the day?
And I know exactly what quote
Yes,
you're talking
and it's
about.
like one mascara tear running down her eye. It's so iconic. It's like engraved in my soul. And she's like, I want to forgive you and I want to forget you. That is you.
No, if I had a quote, I'd be like, I'm not forgiving you and I'm also not forgetting you. But get out. But here's the thing. I'm not a sensitive person. I don't really hold on to an anger surrounding a grudge because hating someone doesn't bother me. Like I don't put a lot of like mental energy into it.
Yeah.
But I will always remember it. It's like my grudge is in a little tiny filing cabinet in my head.
Mm-hmm.
And so if I hear a name like Kyle, I'm like, okay, let me go through that filing cabinet. Oh,
and honestly,
I know what you did to me.
That's the thing. Like after chatting with him, it's not like I forgot the things that happened for sure, but it did make me think about things in a different perspective. Like when you and I make a mistake, we give ourselves grace and because we understand where our emotions came from or where our head was at when we made that mistake, right? And I think that's where I left it. I was like, you know what? Like I should give him the grace too, to be like, he made a mistake, but at the time, maybe he was thinking this is the best thing for me. And yes, he wasn't thinking about me because technically we were not together and he didn't need to think about me. And I think that makes sense in a way.
Like, are you saying you think the way he treated you was a mistake?
I
versus
think
a choice?
Yes. And I think he was doing the best that he could because we all are. And I think we're quick to judge others sometimes and put these standards on them, but we're lenient with ourselves sometimes. And we're like, okay, well, I made a mistake, but I'm going to grow from it because we're in our own heads, right?
Yeah. But do you think he grew from his mistake? I think that's where it's really tough about giving people grace and leniency sometimes of like, they could do something and you're like, okay, like you did that, but you don't need to forgive them per se. You're just like clock it and be like, oh, like I'm not angry or mad at you anymore about it. And I don't really care about it, but I'm not going to try to understand you nor forgive you or give you any sort of leniency or grace because you did what you did and it was shitty and I probably wouldn't have done that to you.
Yeah.
I feel like that's the way sometimes I view it.
Yeah.
When it comes to, I don't know, just like if I have some sort of like grudge against someone, that's kind of the stance I take of like, I've clocked that.
Yeah.
I think it was really shitty. I'm not going to try to understand what you did, but I will not put any energy towards it anymore.
I think holding on to the mistake, I actually think the opposite of you in some of the things that you said, because obviously I forgive what happened and how he treated me for sure, but doesn't mean I'm going to allow that toxicity to come back into my life. Yes. And I think that's where the difference is for me now in my head, where I'm like, hating people takes energy, and like obviously like neither of us hate anyone. Hate is a really, really strong word, but I really, really, really don't like you.
I mean,
but I do have to say it was so lovely chatting with him, and I did miss our friendship, which is unfortunate.
Yeah.
I wish I never went the route that I took and just like remained friends, you know?
You wish you remained friends with him?
Yes.
Truly? Like him as a person and his attributes and characteristics?
He's a good friend, but not a good boyfriend.
See, I don't believe in that. Because I think that, yes, you could be not a good boy. Like, not being a good boyfriend means like not taking you out to dates that often, like forgetting to call you or text you. But I think when you reveal your story at some point or whenever you want to, but I think what he did to you isn't a reflection of him not being a good boyfriend. It's like him not being a good person to you.
Yeah, that's true. Okay. Yeah, I see your
know?
perspective. And you know what? I think I'm more forgiving because I remember all the good things
Yeah.
and forget all the bad things because I think that's how my body copes with the situation. But you, as my best friend, think about it differently because that you open that filing cabinet.
Yeah, I'm
and
like,
the bad things
forget.
those bad things are like glaring at you in red, and they're like, "Fuck the good things."
I was like, let me just open this file that says Kyle on it. Let me remind you.
You're like,
No, I mean, like, I don't think he's like a bad person.
No.
I think, though,
It's not.
it's tough because I know that if we were in his shoes, you would have never did the things that he did to you.
Oh, absolutely.
I would have never done the things that he did if we were friends, you
Yeah.
know? So I was like, if you love and care for someone, you just don't do those things.
Yeah, agree.
And I get like letting it go and not holding the grudge and forgiving him, but I think that, yeah, I'm glad you guys aren't friends or kept that friendship.
Yeah.
Because I think that, yes, it might have not made him a good boyfriend, but I think it didn't even make him a good friend either.
Yeah. No, I think I understand where you're coming from. I
Yeah.
think it's like I said, I think I'm holding on to the good things.
Yeah.
As
I do
opposed
that
to
too.
holding on to the entirety of it because we were so close, you know?
I mean, I remember when the show came out, and we've talked about this over and over again, but I think this is a good example of where I defended Shane in my interviews really, really hard. Even though I think everyone kind of knew, you guys would all be like, what the fuck are you doing?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, they're like, stop giving him so much grace. Stop being like, oh, like he probably did this to me because of, you know, this thing or whatever. And I used to do that so much because we did have good times, right? Like every relationship always has a good time. Like there's a reason why you stay with someone.
Yeah.
But then on the flip side, I remember everything bad and like how it wasn't normal and it was so toxic and unhealthy the way he treated me. And now I'm like, now I'm kind of out of that mindset of like, I'm so glad like we have no contact.
Yeah.
And that I ended it, you know, before it got any further. But I remember at the time I'd be like, well, like I kind of wish we still stayed friends. Like we still, you know, we went through the show together and be nice to like, you know, talk about what we went through. But
yeah, you know, and also I'm actually proud of you for protecting him in that instance though, because when you care about somebody, you know that everyone comes with flaws, you know, and I think it's a really good trait to be understanding and be like, listen, I get your perspective and why you're behaving the way you are, but like, I don't want that in my life. And I think that's like the best thing you can do is like, okay, I'm not going to throw you under the bus and like kick you when you're down, but get the fuck out of my life, you know?
I used to think like this. And the way I think now is probably not very healthy, but I'll just tell you how I think now, where I was always like, I'm going to take the high road. And then I think when Shane took advantage of me not talking badly about him and started to like talk badly about me in interviews without saying the truth. And I was like, you're taking advantage of me now, knowing that I've been keeping my mouth shut and you're lying in interviews. I remember thinking like, I think sometimes people need to feel the consequences of their actions. And so I was like, if I call you out for lying about your finances or being so bad to me, like you did it. Like so if I reveal it or not, you shouldn't have done it. Probably the way you're thinking of like, hey, you know, like is more healthy. But for me, I think I've taken a more of like I don't owe him anything.
Yeah. And also we're in different positions because
no, I just meant in general.
Oh, yeah, totally. And but like when it comes to the whole Kyle Shane situation, the one thing that's easier, I think, is like Kyle hasn't really said anything bad about me in interviews or the media, whereas it's so different for you because Shane has. And that would changed my perspective wholeheartedly.
Yeah.
So I think it's definitely a little bit different for you. But yeah, I don't know.
100%.
I don't know, but that's why I don't get upset when people are like, you're so easy to forgive people. Like, don't do that. But I'm like, to me, I view it as a strength on my end in some instances. But like, obviously I'll take what my friends and family say to me and be like, okay, I get it. Like, I will listen to you. But at the same time, I think, I don't know, I just see the world in a different way.
Yeah. I mean, like, I think that you can forgive a person and move on.
Mm-hmm.
I think what's sad about forgiveness sometimes is you can't go back to the way things were because if they did something that crumbled the foundation of your relationship, it's kind of like done. So I feel like sometimes forgiveness is just being at peace with yourself and not holding a grudge and like moving on.
Yes.
But that doesn't mean that they're coming back to your life.
No, I completely agree with that statement. I think once trust is broken, and it's so hard to bring that back, but it's like almost like the universe or whatever. I know you hate it when I say that word. It's almost like it's a sign in your life that something needs to change and that this person no longer should have a space in your life or take up any of your energy. And a part of releasing that energy is to absolutely forgive them and cut it off and be like, I'm not going to think about this anymore and just move on with your life. And I think that's the best thing you can do for yourself. It took me a long time to be able to do that though. Because I harp on things and like emotionally I'm like holding on to it, and it takes a lot to just like cut that energy field off.
Yeah, I get that. I feel like I'm a little bit different where, as I said, I hold on to grudges. I never forget.
You shouldn't. You shouldn't forget.
Yeah, like I am forgetful, but if you do something so bad to me or a loved one, like I will never forget it. But one thing about me is I don't let it bother me until that person's name gets brought up. Like I'm kind of forgetful until someone brings up someone's name or I see that person. But when I see that person too, like I'm very cordial. And if I have to talk to them, like I'll talk to them very kindly. Yeah. But I'll still have that grudge in my mind.
Wait, why didn't?
But it doesn't bring me like anger per se. I'm like, I know what you did.
Why did, as soon as you started saying that, it made me think of Inside Out. And
the movie?
Yeah. And I just want to know like what the little characters are running around in your head, being like, if someone says a name that you don't like, you're like,
you're like, go through that filing cabinet. No,
the filing cabinet's going crazy. And I think about like the little emojis running around, picking up your emotions.
100%. Because I feel like most of the time in my mind is like, I want to be alone and I don't really care and blah, blah, blah. But the moment a name is mentioned and I was like, oh, I was like, I know why I feel this sort of way towards this person. But I typically don't like harp on it or like think about it often. But if they get brought up in conversation, I'm like, well, this person did this. And like, don't you forget it. And don't you talk to them.
No, it's true.
Yeah. That's the type of, I think, person I am. And I don't know. Do we have some like psychologists listening to this podcast? Yeah. Like, is my brain okay? I
think your brain is perfectly fine. I think the takeaway from all of this is that like, obviously hating somebody or having negative feelings towards somebody takes up a lot of your energy, and it's just better to let that go. But don't ever forget what they did to you. Exactly.
So how did you and Kyle kind of like end on things when you saw each other? Like when you guys went your separate ways?
Oh, it was chill. We just hugged goodbye and was like, good to see you. It was very chill. That's why I was like, oh, that was a good encounter. Because normally I'm like, I'm not going to be in the same room as this person.
Yeah.
But I think it was very healthy.
Do you think that he still wants to continue your friendship?
I have no idea. I feel like we've both built separate lives at this point, and so much time has passed. It's been like almost 2 years.
Yeah.
He literally went through an engagement, a breakup, and like new friends. And like, well, I haven't done much. I started a podcast. I guess I wrote a book.
No, you're totally right. I mean, these last 2 years for us, but specifically you, have been so crazy. And you're totally right. Like, and you've like built kind of like an entire life without him.
Yeah. So I don't think that anytime soon it's going to be like, oh yeah, let's start hanging out again, because I don't think we're in a place to do that. But what's really nice and what I have peace with is that if I did see him out, because Chicago is so small and we do go to the same places all the time, that it's not going to be awkward and it's not going to be weird. I can hug him, be like, hey, how are you doing? Hope life is good. And then, you go on your separate ways.
I love that. I feel like I could do that with all of my exes except for New York Boy.
Yeah. Oh,
and Shane.
if I ever saw New York Boy, it would be really bad. I was gonna say some crazy things, but I know my
Deepti
mom's
saw
listening.
New York Boy's friend at a bar.
Oh yeah.
But I actually met New York Boy in Chicago when he was here for work, and I kind of know one of his coworkers, and so that's how we met, like through this coworker that's based here in Chicago. So Deepti saw him, and he just bought her a drink. He was like, I don't want to talk about what happened.
I know. It's like, did you hear what that man did? And he goes, oh, I barely know him. I don't talk to him. I was like, okay, I'm sure you don't. And then he's like, can I get you a drink? You want a shot? I was like, fine.
I feel like that's fine. Well, let us know what you do with your grudges. Do you let them go? Do you nurse them like I do? Just DM us at our Instagram page at Out of the Pods.
And make sure you leave a review and subscribe.
See you next Wednesday.
Bye.